All right, welcome, Nerdibles, inside Vault 111. That's right, we are talking video games tonight. We're going to cover Battlefront before its launch on Tuesday. See what's going on, if it's worth the game that everybody thinks it might be, or if it's a big ripoff. And since it is episode 111, we are going to be talking Fallout 4. Joining me tonight are Sebastian, Chris, Ethan, Travis, Shauna, and Mikey. I think you're going to be here for a little bit. All right, so Sebastian, I think I'm beginning to agree with you that EA and Battlefront are starting just to be nothing but a big ripoff.
Ripoff is a very strong word because I think a lot of people, they ascribe value to whatever they pay. If somebody pays $60 for Battlefront, I don't agree with it. But if they get their fun out of it, whatever. But I will say, since I don't agree with the pre-order system, and there's no full game, to me the game is a bit of a ripoff.
Right.
For $60. And I don't think I'm the odd man out. Forbes just came out with their review, and they've sort of been on a roll with pretty decent game reviews, and their reviewer sort of said it's not worth the $60. And it's not, and to sort of reiterate my point from before, it's not that I didn't find the beta fun, but from my takeaway was that I would not pay $60 for this, let alone the $110 that they wanted to get the full version of the game with all the add-ons down the road with their $50 DLC season pass.
Well, let's talk about that. First, from the beta, they have decided that the huge battles, like the Hoth battle, they realize that it needs to be more 50-50. So they are going back and tweaking that so it's more competitive for both sides.
Which would be fine. I mean, I'm not gonna, it's also for me I know it's a game I'll want down the road, but I'm not willing to pay $60 for it.
Right.
If in 6 months or a year it pops up on the Xbox Live store, hey, pick this up for $39.99. Then I go, okay, sure, I don't know if it's going to come with the DLC or not, but I know that that's kind of my threshold that I've sort of set for myself for the game.
Right.
Is around $40.
Well, the game comes out on Tuesday. It will have 12 map packs, 12 maps. It will, it'll have 4 here. Let's see. No, actually, it just says it says it'll have 12 maps. I think it has 4 heroes.
Yeah, you could kind of get a preview of a lot of that stuff in the beta that they put out, where they just sort of locked out the other screens.
Right.
Got to get an idea about what the maps were and what the battles were.
But here's where the ripoff, I think, comes to the season pass. So if you spend the $50 for the EA season
access?
pass,
EA access,
then you get over 20 pieces of galactic tech, including weapons, vehicles, star cards for both the Rebels and the Empire. You get 4 more heroes and villains than you would of just getting the regular game. You also get 16 maps instead of the 12.
So you're getting 4 more maps.
You're getting
right off the bat. Anyway.
4 more exciting game modes is where they put it. 2-week early access to expansion packs, and the exclusive shoot first emoji. Or emote.
Ooh. For me, I look at that stuff and I go, it's well, you just divided your community in an instant. There are people who are only going to buy the base game, and then there are people who are going to buy the whole game, and you've already split your community into a very, very, okay, well, I want to play those other maps, but I can't. So now the people who want those maps are playing with a smaller crowd of people than everybody. That's just me.
But it's not just that. It's the fact that if you're playing on the same map as somebody that has the season pass,
right, and then
you're not going to be able to compete with them because they're going to have weapons and armament and stuff like that you don't have.
Right.
As someone who has no idea about this, I have 2 questions. 1, $50 season pass lasts for how long?
6 months.
6 months.
Okay, so it's something that you would, if you continue to play the game for more than a year, you'd have to renew it again.
Renew it every 6 months.
You'd have to renew it.
$50 every
but to be more specific, it just entitles you to whatever they release in a 6-month time frame.
Right, but basically, you're paying $110 for a full game.
Yes.
Okay, second question. Would the people that have that pass be even allowed to play on the same map as someone who has a base pass?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They can take their weapons into the base maps.
So they're going to be able to go to every map, whereas only the people that buy the base game can't go to their special maps.
Correct.
Yes.
So the people with the special shit get to go everywhere.
So their armaments, their upgrades, everything that they have.
Vehicles, their different...
So my official, now more educated opinion is that is complete bullshit.
Yes.
Hey,
oh, totally.
Party.
Which is why Microsoft played it smart when they said immediately no paid DLC for Halo 5.
Halo 5, you get everything.
Everything
Well,
will be free as long as we start putting it out.
The argument that a lot of people are making about Battlefront right now is the fact that basically to get what everyone in the public sees as the full game, the actual full regular game, you have to pay $110 just to play the regular game.
Correct.
As opposed to every other game that exists that you pay your $59.99 or your $65 and you just get the game as is.
Right.
So basically EA has finally jumped the shark where other people were getting in there with some pre-order stuff and other people were like, well, unless you get the Legendary Edition or the Special Edition, you won't get all the maps, but you will like in 2 or 3 months when we release it to everybody with an update. Like it was kind of an exclusive thing for a short time. Now EA has finally gone the full Monty and said, no, if you want the full game that we made, we cut it in half and you're going to have to pay double price.
Yeah. I'm wondering, though, if they're going to do like Titanfall, where after 6 months to 8 months or something, whatever it was, they made those maps that were supposedly as the DLC, they made them free.
Well, it was longer than that because the game the game is basically was at its end of life. The game came out like a year ago, and the game is
it'll be 2 years ago.
It'll be 2 years
March,
ago.
won't it?
Almost one of the launch
it was one of the launch titles.
Well, it was a February or March because we did a we did a demo here. Remember?
But the game,
Yeah.
but the reason they put those out for free is because people basically stopped playing the game because they had already moved on.
It was basically a grab to try to pull whatever was left of their audience in.
It's the same thing when you have a game and you make it like a greatest hit or whatever for someone who
and
missed it.
It's like the Arkham
Yeah.
games. Like this Christmas, I guarantee Arkham Knight will be out for the same $60 or the $30, but it'll have all the DLC included. Then the people who paid the
also,
extra for the season pass will be like, but I paid separately for all this.
Also, like Titanfall didn't have much else for it, so it doesn't have. It's not a game that has longevity.
Right.
In a sense, all it is basically just online play.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is probably their way of just getting people to.
Well,
Right.
Chris just pulled it up. Titanfall came out March 11th, 2014.
So we're gonna go on 2 years.
2 years, and I think it was last year almost around the anniversary. They made the map packs for free.
I don't know. It may have been just after that because I got the notification like, "Hey, you have Titanfall. Guess what's free?"
Right.
And I was like,
All the stuff you
Stuff you don't
But that was
care about.
about six. That was maybe about 4 or 5 months ago. So probably just over a year. They were
Yeah.
like, "Well, the game's done. Put it out for free. We've already made as much as we can make."
Yeah.
So what I kept seeing, and I know Sebastian kind of wants to say something along this line, but what I saw from a number of different online reviewers, like magazines type stuff, journalists, was that they were not reviewing the game because EA had them come to review the game with that early access. I guess
Yes,
you could
they went to
access the game for 2 weeks before it's
There was
actually
a-
released.
Well, right now you
Yeah.
can if you have
Right,
the early
but there
access,
was a
you
whole
can play
bunch
the
of
game
reviews.
already.
Yeah, but
No,
they wouldn't let
what
them
he's talking
release
about,
the
there were
reviews?
specific
They went to events.
journalist events.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
yeah,
brought them into specific events and they had the full game
And then
for them to play.
And
there.
they played the game for like 5-6 hours. They got
But
their
then
drinks.
EA
and
told them, according to the one, I can't remember the one, I can't find it on my phone. One of these online sites said that they declined it because EA also said you can come and play it, you can write your review, but you can't release it until the day of the game.
Right.
That's correct.
They
They were
And
putting
they
it
said
out.
that they felt that was unfair because people were already playing the game online.
And actually, people
without
have been
reviews.
talking about that there's a gag order. There's basically been an EA gag order on any reviews whatsoever, and they've been talking about, well, if you review it too early, if you release your review before we say you can, then we're not going to give you any pre-release access ever again to any of our
Right.
games.
Well,
and
we-
you won't be able to review our games.
Yeah,
in
and
the
EA's
future.
point was that, well, the game isn't out, and this reviewer point is, yes, it is, because it's available online.
as a beta.
As-
Correct.
Well, the whole game.
Well, no, not just as a beta, but if you have the
2-week
early access
Yes.
thing.
Yeah, so the whole game is out for
Right.
this early access.
To the pre-order
and we can't
people.
tell those people before they decide, I'm going to click for early access, what we think the game is.
Right.
So we're just not going to review it at all and make a statement saying we're not going to review
Now-
it at all.
And the next thing I wanted to talk about piggybacks on top of sort of what EA has been doing. So there was a big kerfuffle on Reddit because of what happened with the subreddit r Star Wars Battlefront, where one of the moderators who was then let go of being a moderator on the team basically came out and said, once I started questioning that they were taking bribes, and he provided screenshots and proof of dirty deeds going on between EA and the Reddit
Well, it was
moderators.
like the lead community manager for EA Battlefront.
Yes, and
Is this what you were talking about before we came on the air?
Yes,
Okay.
I've got it here. I've got this is from PlayStation Lifestyle, but they are directly quoting the ex-moderator of our Star Wars Battlefront, who said that this is what was exchanged in return. On the Star Wars Battlefront for the moderators, they accepted favors in return for moderator actions. They farmed the subreddit nonstop for YouTube revenue by sticking videos made by the moderators themselves and putting in referral links for the moderators.
If anybody listening has to pee, we're sorry.
Yeah.
We're very sorry.
It sounds
Rich,
like
Rich took
I've already
his...
that's
his
2
mic.
of 6 already. So moving on. This is not too long. So then they tried to cover up their bribery by banning users who were providing proof. They willingly suppressed criticism of the game through moderator actions. They willingly, I'm sorry, that's number 4. Number 5 is they turned a blind eye to the massive astroturfing that EA was doing on the subreddit. And
hold on, real quick. What is astroturfing?
That's where EA, or let's just say a company, will have any number of people. Usually it will be the types of folks like your interns or your community management team or more interns will go on to a website where people are talking about your product, this point Battlefront, and they basically either downvote or unlike or try to dismiss or talk trash about something negative posted about your product.
or they'll post positive things themselves,
okay.
or they try to balloon it, overinflate it.
Amazon reviews have been accused of this for years.
Exactly.
Nerdibles, where you learn the new phrases.
right.
Where I learned news phrases.
And then the 6th one is exposing personal details about users that were confided in private. So it's like, oh, this guy said this, and this is the website, this is the different areas of Reddit he posts. So kind of shady shit.
Yeah,
basically
to
what's been
try
going.
to call somebody out personally.
Yeah, and they did this for alpha access to the game, for early access to the full game. So basically, hey, make our game look good, and we'll give you, basically, we're letting you in on the game.
So he got fired for doing exactly what everybody else on the internet does?
No. The moderator got the moderator got let. These people aren't paid. They're
Right.
But he was let go from the subreddit for saying, "Hey, this is probably not cool, and if you're going to do this, you should probably at least let people know that."
So he got let go for exposing it.
Yeah, he was basically saying
He got banned by
he got
as
let
a
go. He got
whistleblower.
let go as a whistleblower.
Yes.
because he basically said, "Hey, if you're a fellow moderator, if you're posting your own Battlefront video, at least tell people that this is you."
Mm-hmm.
And and if you're going to have affiliate links like to Amazon for downloads that give somebody a couple extra pennies or whatever per purchase, at least say that it's yours.
Right.
And they weren't doing that. And when he started questioning them and called them out on it, they let him go. And that's when he posts the full story onto Reddit, and it catches fire. And that doesn't look good for EA, that they're willing to go that far to protect their game.
Right.
Shady.
Well, no, here, I have noticed that EA over the last week has started releasing YouTuber videos. Some of the famous YouTubers that will play the game with their image imposed over it as they're playing it, and the PewDiePie or whatever that type of YouTuber, of them doing some of the real
Let's
cool
plays.
moves and things like that, trying to hype the game.
Right.
Do you think that do you think that EA is putting a gag order on them from saying anything that might be negative, or just because here's the copy of the game and we'll give you...
FCC recently changed their regulations for people on YouTube, and they have to be clear about it, or they risk their YouTube accounts. Which is what is really nice about YouTube is they even now have you can have paid, this is a paid promotional video, and you can check the box, it'll do disclosure, but they have to disclose. And a lot of reviewers have been disclosing. PewDiePie does it all the time. He'll say this company, is paying me to do a video on the game and talk about what I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fair enough, as long as you can sort of get the perceived bias up front and center. I'm fine with it, as long as somebody's playing the game.
You'll see guys like Jimquisition and Total Biscuit say hey, they offered me.
Right.
They'll bring up the fact that they're not going to be reviewing a game, because
You're going to laugh at Total Biscuit, aren't you?
I feel bad that his parents named him that. That's just.
but there's those guys are out there saying like, hey, just so you know, I'm not going to be reviewing the game like I normally would be because they are refusing to release it to me without doing some kind of bribe
promotional,
tactic.
or they'll say like,
or nerfing his review.
Yeah, or they've even like someone like Total Biscuit says like, all right, this is a game I paid for because they wouldn't give me a review copy.
Right.
Let's review the game. You know,
and gives them a quick bashing as well.
Right, and you know, and these are also people who talk about like, oh, they offer me laptops and they offer me, you know, fancy trips and expensive hotel stays to play their games, and I refuse them. So I get it. I get, you know, as long as it's clear, it's fine.
So the point of this is that we should start reviewing games on YouTube.
But you got to be really big. As fun as it would be,
We need to get big reviewing
Yes.
games on YouTube.
There you
See,
go.
instead of doing the one person, we do it as a multi-people.
Yeah, you can, there's a lot of fun you can have with it.
Multi-people.
You mean we do MMOs only? Is that what you're trying to say?
The multi
All play the game at the same time. All of our controllers can control that one character.
Oh my god, that would be awesome.
You thought you lost friendships over Portal.
No, but
Why is he spinning
It
around?
actually might be kind of cool the way, you know how we will play games sometimes where we'll sit down, if it's a one-person game, we'll sit down and we'll play it until either you get to the next level or you die. Then, if we did that and we kept going around...
So we just watch Kay play.
It might be interesting. It might be more interesting than
Just
one
to watch
person.
Kay play.
So yeah, no, the YouTuber, and there's already reviews of the game out on YouTube that quite a few of them have already been pretty critical of the game and have basically said this game's not, you know, it's fun, it's Star Wars, but is it a good game? Is it worth the $60? A lot of people.
That's the thing, yeah.
A lot of people have sort of kind of said no.
Now, here's the thing.
From the start, we said, is it because it's Star Wars or is it because it's a good game? I mean,
Right.
you hope it's both.
It's because it's Star Wars, unfortunately.
Do you think that if this game was coming out at any other time, because right now we are in the
We're in maximum hype.
Yes, we're maximum Star Wars hype. You know, and everywhere you turn. You know, I just did an article on our website, which, yes, by the way, I did update our website about how Star Wars has taken over the world. But do you think that if this game would have come out last year before Star Wars, you know, before we got into the year of Star Wars, it would still be as big as it's going to be?
I will say yes, because as a gamer, people have been waiting for the next Star Wars Battlefront for a very, very long time.
Yep.
And after seeing the alpha footage of the previous Battlefront game that looked amazing, with actual, you know...
The one that was 99%.
Yeah, the one that was actually, you know, ground warfare to space combat complete.
Yep.
Where you could be on the ground.
Like, seamless. No loading.
Hop into a Jedi starfighter, fly out the atmosphere of the planet, go fight
land
in
on
space,
a Star Destroyer.
You know, then land on a Star Destroyer,
fight inside the Star Destroyer like it's another like land battle.
Yeah.
Right, and fight NPCs and regular people. No, I think that people would still be really hyped.
Do you think that this negative reviews, the negative content, or the negative articles in Forbes magazine, everything else that's coming out right now, do you think that's going to hurt its sales?
No, because it's Star Wars.
That's the thing is, even though I've heard a number of people that I work with at my day job that are talking about, but it's Star Wars and it's Battlefront for the first time in like 10 years. You got to play it.
Even Fallout is not getting great reviews.
Fallout is getting harsh reviews.
But Fallout, it's Fallout.
12.1 million copies in the first weekend.
Yeah. It did amazingly well anyways. But it's Fallout, and it's a game that's so beloved, people will buy it.
Yep.
Regardless.
Okay, is there anything that would...
Heck, I would, like, the only thing that would have gotten me to pre-order that game, and I, like, almost, is for the Pip-Boy.
Mm-hmm.
But I figure, at some point down the road, somebody will actually make a Pip-Boy you can just buy again.
That's true.
So for me, it's one of those, like, it's like, no, I'll wait till they actually sell one by itself.
Well, Mikey, Klush was talking about that last night, because he had the Pip-Boy, right? Were you were here for that? Were you when he was talking about it? Was it his Android is too big or something? Or?
Yeah, it only fits the 5, the 5S, the 6, the 6S, and like the Galaxy.
It doesn't do any of the pluses. It doesn't fit anything plus.
Right.
Okay.
And it doesn't do any of like the Galaxy Notes. It'll do the regular Galaxy phones.
Correct. Yeah, the Galaxy S3, S4, and S5 will fit, but the Galaxy S5 Plus, like the
Notes,
iPhone 6 Plus, it's just too big for.
But there is an app that works exactly the same way.
Yes, you
could just play with your phone.
Yeah, you put the phone in there and then use the app to monitor your in-game, like your items and your health and stuff. You could play it with the Pip-Boy instead of accessing the in.
And it looks just like the Pip-Boy.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
whole
it's designed
screen,
that
the everything, the whole layout is the same
So if
thing.
you have some duct tape and your phone, then you're still got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to Battlefront. Is there anything that EA could do that would make you get the season pass?
No,
No.
sir.
Make it free.
If they offered you a single player story mode, would you?
Okay,
As
now
part-
we're starting to get into something.
Well, but
If they offered you ground to air to space battles, would
as
that
a season pass,
during the season pass?
no,
I'd start
because
considering it. I'd start considering
I
it.
considered it for half a second, but it was like, no, fuck those guys. That makes you even more shady to go to feel like it's like, no, then you should have just included that in the game.
What if they offered you a mod for Episode 7 characters after the movie comes out?
I don't care.
I can get those for free from the internet.
That's called the
because
internet, yeah.
Because
I'll go to the
people have
Nexus.
already started working on mods for the game.
Yep.
So
to pay so much money for half a year just to play a game. I'm just like,
yeah,
I don't want to pay that. I don't want to pay that much just to play my game.
Because it's $5 a month.
Well,
is the way they break it down.
Not only that, keep in mind you're doing it every 6 months. So if they load up their EA Access Pass for Battlefront with space to land battles, seamless, no loading times, and they throw in a first-person storyline mode, and they throw in a bunch of extra skins and weapons and stuff from Episode 7, you're still only getting the opportunity to rent that for 6 months.
Yeah, you don't.
And then once that time's up, it's ripped out of your hands. You don't
Yeah,
own that anymore.
Who plays a game for more than 6 months?
it's the.
Do you think
I
it should
do.
be like old DLC content then? Once you
Once
buy
I buy
it,
it, it's mine.
yours.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, you have to look at it this way: is then it's like so you're paying $110 for the game you should have got at the beginning.
Exactly. That's why people are saying they're charging you twice for one game.
Yes,
It should be like the old style when you bought a game and you just played
got
it.
a whole game
You
and
just, you just played it.
Right.
But considering,
Yes.
That was it.
but considering we live in an era now where you have these paid-to-play games on your mobile apps,
Microtransactions.
yeah, that is the norm for mobile gaming.
But a mobile game is much different than a game you
Yes,
just spent $60 for.
and-
No, I
a
agree.
mobile game, when you get a game for free, and then they tell you, oh, you need $1 to do this. Oh, if you have $1. And most of those, the types of games that I play that have those in there, those microtransactions, you don't need them in order to get the game. You just need to spend more time.
Right.
Yeah.
Something like this, if you're basically saying, you can have the very basic game. You can be one rebel soldier, and you have one kind of gun, and you have a map that isn't very big. But if you give us another $50, you can have a whole bunch of rebel soldiers who have a whole bunch of guns and have a whole bunch of maps. What you're telling me is that, why did I pay for the thing in the first place? They should be giving away the game for free and then charging the $50 to make the game better.
Right. I haven't caught Mobabola, and I think people will fight Mobabola with the MOBAs are a scourge on the gaming world. It's the free, like, massively multiplayer online game.
Yeah.
But it's also, gamers already eye roll when people bring up comparisons to mobile gaming because they don't consider mobile gaming actual gaming. It's like, I'm sorry, playing Candy Crush on your phone is not the same as, playing Civ 5 or...
Yeah.
Well, you don't play Candy Crush right.
Or playing Call of Duty.
You got to get to that next level.
Even downloading, playing...
Didn't those bastards just get sold for like $12 billion?
Right, and
Something like that,
they've
yeah.
already come out and said, like, no, the great thing about, like the free-to-play mobile games is that we own you for life, because they make 70% of their money on the whales who will spend $1,000 a month.
Yeah, people were talking about that with that company that got bought that makes it King Candy, something like that, or King.
Yeah, Candy.
And they're like, well, but Candy
King
Crush
or
is,
something,
yeah,
yeah.
and it's like, well, Candy Crush is already over, right? And they said they didn't buy it because of Candy Crush. They bought it because they're going to make something else. And when they think about it, if you have 1 million people in the world playing that game, and even only half of them spend $1 every month, that's $6 million a month,
Right.
that you're making on multiple games.
Right. And
Crazy.
and there's always the statistics about how many people really play games. And again, real gamers, quote unquote real, they always scoff when they include mobile games in those statistics. It's like, no, the soccer mom playing Candy Crush for an hour while their kid is at karate is not a gamer who's making a PC or going out and buying an Xbox and
Yeah, I don't consider
PlayStation.
myself a gamer, but I've been playing Crossy Road nonstop for the
But
last 2 weeks.
and I play Crossy Road too, but
There's a Crossy Road too?
well, there's a 2-player version of Crossy Road now.
There is?
Yeah, you can sabotage your friends.
Wait, what's Crossy Road?
It's
Yeah.
basically
It's
Frogger.
Frogger with a whole bunch of different characters that
Yeah.
then when you read the reviews, everyone's like, why don't the different characters do different things? And I'm like, it's a small little game.
It's
it
a
doesn't
free
have that
game.
much programming.
It's a
Yeah.
free game.
Calm
guys.
down.
Now, here's the thing. With Battlefront, they haven't said which heroes we're getting of the ones that we've seen so far. They haven't said exactly which ones are going to be available with the game at launch and which ones are going to be part of the season pass.
Jar Jar Binks.
I have this feeling that Boba Fett and Han Solo,
Jar Jar
the
Binks.
Millennium Falcon, and
Jar Jar
Slave One will be part of
EA access.
the EA access because
Well,
those are things that people want to play.
They-
Luke
they
Skywalker,
already-
Darth Vader will both be in.
Right, the regular. But
The
they've already
regular.
shown people playing with the Falcon and the Slave One
Yes.
in regular Let's Plays
Correct.
of the current game.
Yes.
But are we sure that that's just the regular, or is that the EA access?
It's possible they could lock them out at launch, but the people are already playing them right now. So.
Because if you're going to entice people to do this, you're going to want them to play characters or want characters that they are
Unless
that they
they're
love
gonna
and
be
they're
entirely
beloved.
New characters that people don't know yet, like
Jar Jar
maybe,
Binks.
maybe get to play as Jar Jar or Dak.
I don't know about
die.
Dak, but
You gotta
Could it
play as
not be
Dak.
No, you can play as Biggs Darklighter and then you die. Right away.
well, maybe you get like Chewbacca
30-second
or
I want to play as
30-second lifespan.
Porkins.
I want
Can play as
Jar Jar
Porkins?
Binks, like in the middle of Hoth. He's so cool.
see that would be fun.
Fly a snow speeder. Wah!
I would kill myself over and over and over again.
We some walkers.
Run into enemy fire.
No, it'd be the most satisfying. I would buy
Just
that game just to kill Jar Jar
You're
over
the-
and
just-
over and
you're
over
the-
again.
You get to play.
Well,
the
that
distraction.
wasn't that one of the selling points of one of the Battlefront games that you could kill Ewoks?
I
I don't want to kill.
think it was the
Ewoks, they're cute.
first Battlefront.
I think
It was
so,
one of
yeah.
them where like that was part of the ad campaign was now you can blow away
Now
those
you can
stupid
destroy the
terrorists.
Ewoks.
Yeah, something like that. It was crazy.
They hated Ewoks until the Gungans took over. For
Okay,
And now
so
it's the Gungans. Yep.
besides myself, is there anyone that's picking up Battlefront at launch?
at
No.
launch, me no.
Nope. No.
I'm the only
No,
one
I
stupid.
don't-
I know. I'm the only. Your hats kill me, by the
You're
way.
the only moron that's going to do it.
Yeah, I know. I'm the only one, and I did pick up the special edition. one,
But
too.
again, I'm the guy who has the patience to wait. Like, it's even with Fallout, a game that I really loved Fallout 3. I didn't play too much of New Vegas, but I want
New
to play
Vegas
New
was even better!
Yeah, but for me, it's like I'll wait for the collector's edition of
Vegas
Fallout
is
4 and actually get the game that has all the little extras.
Everything you ever wanted. in
Right,
it.
and it'll be as bug-free as Bethesda can make possible.
Yes. Which even with Skyrim,
Right.
and they've done 5 patches to it, like major patches,
Right.
and it still glitches out sometimes.
Right,
Does
exactly.
everybody love Skyrim now?
For the longest time, people did.
There's still a big modding community for Skyrim, so there's still people playing.
Skyrim is still rolling along.
And even for Battlefront, like if next Christmas, if next Christmas they go, hey, collector's edition of Battlefront, and it's going to have all the.
Oh, they're not going to release any new Star Wars stuff next Christmas. It's over after.
Well,
after
I'm talking
December.
Well,
But
what
EA's game.
if they leave Battlefront as the game, and then next Christmas or so, there's a Rogue One story mode that they add to it? Would that be more enticing?
Because again, the add-ons don't mean anything to me as long as I have a good base game, and I'm not paying $60 for the base game as it is, and I'm not paying $110 for the game they should have given me. So I'll play the waiting game. I'll wait for the Game of the Year edition next year that will have all of the EA stuff.
That will cost $10 less.
Right.
That will have everything
and then
they
I'll
ever
play it.
released.
But what if they have it whereas, okay, you buy the base game, so you have the base code
not
and
paying
everything.
$60 for it.
No, listen. And then every month or so, with having this EA season pass, they're adding something that they're still continuing to develop
Right.
now.
Which is,
But from what it sounds like, that's not true.
No, that's
you're-
not true.
Right, but you're talking.
You're basically
semantics.
apologizing for
Here's
them,
the thing.
and if
this
they-
is this
in
is
case
this
that
is
they
the
could
problem.
Do something better.
You said you can wait.
right.
You're waiting for a game that has no single story campaign.
Right.
So you're waiting for a game. The reason that this works and the reason that there is no single story campaign is if you don't buy it right now, that game is worthless because
Yes.
everyone's
You have
going
to
to
play
play
it
it for the next 3
yep.
months. And then Halo
Something new will
8 is
come
going to
out.
come out,
Mhm.
or something is, go blow up your friends with this game, and it's going to die. Sebastian's going to get it in 6 months, fantastic, and there's going to be 50 people left.
Right.
I'm exaggerating, but that to me would everybody that's talking about, if you don't buy this game right now, it's a worthless game
Right.
because there's nothing to do unless you're fighting people.
Fighting other people.
Well,
It's-
if you
it's-
go on to
it's like for my
Titanfall now,
Titanfall,
there's
'cause,
yeah.
like, I bought Titanfall for $30 with everything on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have to wait 15-20 minutes for a game when I do play it, but I only paid $20 for it, and I don't feel bad. Or $30 for it, and I don't feel bad. Battlefront, if I were to pay $60 and then an extra $50 on top of that, and then a year down the road, I'm only playing with 3,000 or 4,000 other people, I feel like shit. Because I feel like a sucker, and a lot of people would rightfully so be very angry at
But if
that.
you go to play Titanfall right now, that's basically what you're doing.
Right,
Well, you're
but I
waiting
only
for
No, but he didn't
people
pay
to
for it.
load
That's
up.
what he's saying.
I
He
paid
paid.
$30 for everything in Titanfall.
Right.
That's all the DLC and the game. I didn't pay $60 plus the extra $40 for the
all
season
the extra
pass.
shit. Yeah.
Right.
So I don't feel bad for like, yeah, I got the game at basically more than half off at this point. Okay, cool. Paid $30, whatever, drop in the bucket. If I'm paying $110 for Battlefront and in a year it's a game where there's not a lot of players on it, yeah, I'm gonna feel like a sucker.
But what if they are adding, and then I'm throwing this out there for the hopes that, I mean, I'm not sure that anyone's even listening, but the hopes
If
that
they add a single player story campaign in a year and a half, then I'll wait for the year and a half to buy it.
But if they decide, okay, you know what? Instead of making Battlefront 4 or Battlefront 2, if they're going to restart the numbers, instead of making a whole new base game, they just make
Additions to that one
additions to that
won't
one.
happen because that's not how the game industry works.
I understand that. I'm just saying if they take
Because they're not going to waste their time versus
Right.
making a new game.
But it's also, again, then I will wait. I will wait to see how the game plays out. It's all, again, this is all hypothetical, but if 6 months from now they say, in 6 months there's going to be a single story campaign mode, then I'll wait the extra time to then see how the game ends out turning out. I'm not gonna drop money right away for it. It's like, no, I can play the waiting game. I have time. EA doesn't have time because they need their next title. I don't. I have the money and I have the control over my experiences and how I pay for what I want.
Okay,
And
so did you buy Fallout?
no, I didn't buy Fallout because the game is not good right now.
Travis, did you?
No, because I don't have a PS4 or an Xbox One.
I thought you had I thought you
Go
had
get
one.
PC. Play for PC.
Okay, so I mean, the numbers for Fallout 4. I mean, I've heard mixed reviews now.
Insane.
You're saying it's not very good. The other people that I know that have it have like, this game's amazing and it's so much fun. I enjoy it.
Well,
It
fun,
looks great.
Fun is a very different metric from good. Fallout 4 looks incredibly fun, and I am incredibly tempted to get it. But I also know the game is horribly glitchy, like every Bethesda game.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought Fallout 3 in a collector's edition like a year and a half later, when it already had all the updates and all the patches to it in a single game. And I'll do the same for Fallout, because Fallout doesn't really have any online components. It's just a massive... It's like Skyrim. There's no online component to Skyrim. You can pick up Skyrim at any time and play through Skyrim and do all the crazy side quests that they have. But if you buy Skyrim now, you're going to get everything that people had to wait for.
So would you consider yourself a gamer on a budget, or just that you've been burned so many times by...
I'm a gamer with patience.
So you're not a gamer?
Which is very, contradicted.
Because, I bought Halo 5 after it got really good reviews, and so, most of the bad reviews for Halo 5 were on whether or not the story was good. I'm a huge fan of Halo, so I enjoyed the story mode myself, and that's one of those things, that's neither here nor there, plus the good story mode. I got burned on Halo Master Chief Collection, which I had to wait. I had to bought it and then had to wait a month to play online multiplayer because of those crazy
it didn't
patches.
work.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
But they didn't tell anybody it didn't work because people only tested it on private servers.
Right.
But again, no, I have patience. There's very few games that I'll buy straight away. Even now, with Steam, there's early access games like Ark. I want to play Ark, but I can wait for the game's issues to be hammered out. I'm not that's the thing is I'm not so desperate to get the next thing. I want Metal Gear Solid 5, but again, I can wait for them to hammer all the issues out of Metal Gear Solid 5.
That's the thing. I want to jump on every game right when it comes out, but I'm the burned gamer. I've been burned enough times by crappy games that I'm like,
Right.
I'm going to wait for it to be right.
But the thing...
As of right now, Fallout 4 has a Metacritic score based on 51 critic reviews of 87 out of 100, which is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And then look at the...
It has a user score rating out of 1,888 users reviewing the game of 6.1 out of 10.
which is meh.
Very
It's
mild.
below the Fallout average.
Exactly. So there's definitely a steep drop-off in what people are actually playing
Right.
compared to what reviewers are saying about it.
And
But-
for me, it's
hold
also
on.
I live in the digital age where I can I don't have to worry about Fallout 4 being taken off of store shelves in a year or two, I can just download Fallout 4 at a discount when I want to, either on a computer or on modern consoles where I don't need a disc.
Well, and there's also a shift starting to begin, and it hasn't fully taken over yet. It's definitely not the mainstream, but there's a shift starting to happen where the younger generation is recognizing they can get almost every game that comes out for the consoles on PC.
Steam sales
Not
are,
only, and that's the other side of it.
a
Is
gift from Gaben.
there are more than one website now. So now you're starting to
Humble
see
bundles?
GOG. You're seeing the Humble Bundle. You're seeing Green Man Gaming. You're seeing GOG. You're seeing Steam all come out, and those PC guys are selling only online digital download codes, and those digital download codes are coming in at $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 under what people are paying for the retail copy for a console.
Oh yeah, I guarantee you by summer, Steam sale for Battlefront, probably 40-50% off.
Yep.
Because
So
that's what
there's
they
a
do
new
on
trend
PC.
starting to happen there as well.
PC gets so many games so quickly from so many different publishers, even indie, that games go on discounts so much faster than on console, because on console they can control the game output.
Well, right now, if you want to buy Fallout 4, the retail is what? Like with tax, it's like 64 something?
Yeah,
If you go online right now to Steam, you can get it for $47 for PC.
right.
Huge discount.
Which is at least $15 cheaper than on console.
But with a PC, if you don't have a fast enough processor,
It doesn't matter. You can build a PC that is orders of magnitude more powerful than an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4 for the same price.
You can buy a $500. You can build a $500 PC.
You can build a $500 gaming PC that can play games in 4K.
Okay, so is there any game coming up that you have looked at the reviews, you've looked at what's going on, you've followed its development, that you're excited that you would buy at launch?
There's one that
I
came
bought
out
Halo
this
5.
year. There's one that came out this year, and it's the only one. There's nothing on the map right now where I'm like waiting for it, going like, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. But the only one that was detailed by the developer, detailed by journalists, and detailed by the gamers, all throughout production and to finished product, was The Witcher 3.
Witcher 3 is also...
That's
a great
true,
game.
yeah.
But no, I bought Halo 5 at launch, but all the reviews are out because they didn't have review embargoes. People already got to play the full game and play online. After their last screw-up with Master Chief Collection, they're like, no, you know what?
We better get this right.
Yeah, let's get this right. And they did, and the reviews spoke to that. So I was not afraid to put my money down.
Okay, so before we move
Hold
on,
on, before we move on. Look up those same review scores for Halo 5. Because I think one of these problems is that when you get a player type of review, this is sort of like Amazon. Everybody just hates everything.
oh yeah,
And those are the people that come in, if you read a book and you're like, I really like this, you don't jump on Amazon and go, hey, 4 stars, 5 stars. When you read a book and go, this is a piece of crap, you jump on and you hit 1 star. So in terms of a statistical model, it skews towards people who don't like it.
So, for
I may be
Halo
wrong.
5 Guardians, the Metacritic has the exact same amount of critics, so we're at 91, and it's an 84.
That's about the same.
So it's 3 points below Fallout 4.
Okay.
Because Fallout 4 was
Like 87.
87, right?
Okay.
Based on 1,500, almost 1,600 user ratings, it's at a 6.6.
So it's pretty much the same
0.5
thing.
higher.
Yeah.
So almost
Yeah.
identical.
It's almost identical.
Yeah.
For a game that you guys are saying, or you're saying, Halo 5 was great, and Fallout 4 is very not as great.
well, Halo 5 doesn't have the glitches
Well,
that
yeah,
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
What I'm just pointing out that sometimes when we read these types of statistics, especially when it comes from a large base of users, not professional critics, but users, who give their reviews based on how they feel. The review only comes because you feel. When you have a professional reviewer, that person has to review the game whether he loves it, he hates it, or he doesn't care.
Right.
When you have a player that plays a game, that review is going to come from a place of, do I even want to bother jumping onto something and telling people what I think of this one way or
I
the
think
other?
the bigger issue with professional reviewers for games is that a lot of times they review games at events and they only play the game for
All
5
right, well, that's a
hours.
whole different.
That's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But that is the norm.
That's
That-
the tough thing with games too. That's why game reviews to me never really make sense because you have guys who are reviewing games that haven't finished it.
Right.
A movie critic, if a movie critic sees the whole film, he sees the whole film that you saw.
And yeah.
If the movie critic sits there and walks out and says, "Well, I went to see Spectre. I only got through 20 minutes, so I'm giving it an F." I'm like, "You didn't see the whole movie,
Right, exactly.
You didn't see the same movie
Right.
I
And
did."
that's the
But
issue
if
with
I'm sitting
professional
here saying,
reviews.
"Well, I've spent 3 days playing Battlefront and I think it's great," and you say, "Well, I played it for 5 hours in a padded room at EA headquarters and I think it sucks," then it's a total different experience.
Right.
Like completely different. And obviously there's things that can affect you in a movie
Right.
experience as
But
well, but
at least with the
at
user
the product
reviews,
is there.
The user reviews for something like Fallout were very clear. Like, here's the reason why it's this, why I reviewed it so poorly is because of the terrible glitches,
Right.
or I didn't like the story. And it's like, okay, I can like for story. That's
It's a different type of
that's a
thing to
subject-
review. Like
Correct.
we noticed when we were talking about Aftermath
The
as a
Fallout,
book. We had
yeah.
so many people that reviewed it after like I got 4 chapters in and I hate it. 1
Right.
star. And I'm like, you only read 4
Right.
chapters. That doesn't to me
Read
that
the
doesn't
whole
count as a
damn
review.
book, right.
Yeah.
At
You
least
read the
it-
whole book and go, I hated the whole thing. If you're a user reviewer, if you are a fan reviewer, you're held to this different standard that really doesn't count. If you're a professional reviewer, if you're a book critic and you're telling me I didn't finish the book, that tells me I can't give it a review. All I can say is I didn't finish it.
It wasn't good enough for me
I
to
didn't finish
the book.
it. There can be a lot of different
Well,
factions. I didn't finish Ready Player One because Aftermath came out after I read the first 2 chapters, and I switched over to Aftermath, and I haven't a chance to get back. Doesn't mean it's a bad book. Doesn't mean it's a good book.
Well, like I
That's
was
just
saying-
what happened. If I'm a professional book critic and they're paying me to go, you need to go review Ready Player One, I have to finish that book. I just when I see user reviews for all this stuff, the same thing I said for Amazon when we were talking about again Aftermath. I said all of the reviews that I'm reading is basically people that are complaining about the fact that it's not the expanded universe. That's not a real review.
Right.
That's a review of your opinions are always a part of review. But when you're not a professional, you're not removing that sort of bias. If you're sitting there going, well, Jason and Jana aren't in it, so it's automatically a piece of crap. I'm thinking here, if you're playing it, I'm going to give Battlefront a terrible review because there's no single player campaign. That's all I care about. As far as I'm concerned, Battlefront is an F because it doesn't have the mode that I'm willing to play. I have no desire to play against a bunch of kids in Brazil and get my ass handed to me every 6 seconds and never get a shot off. I don't want to be Greedo and just be shot first every single time and fall over dead. So my review of Battlefront is an F. But as a user, my review is an F because I'll never play the game because I don't care about online gaming.
Sure.
But,
Well, I mean,
but it's also like I'll trust user reviews a little bit more because, like with Fallout 4, most of the professional reviews said nothing about glitches.
Actually, a lot of them, they don't get too. There have been some that are talking about glitches, but many of them say it doesn't capture the feeling that Fallout 3 did. It's not quite as good as Fallout New Vegas. So they're saying that there's the game itself, like the finished, polished product, doesn't capture what the other games were able to grasp.
But
Well,
and-
again, in
but
terms of
here's-
talking
but
about
here's the
Which
reviews-
is interesting.
But then here's sort of that counterpoint. Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain has a 93 on
Phantom
Metacritic.
Menace?
The Phantom Pain, but yes, it is very much like the Phantom Menace.
a Phantom Pain, would that
The-
actually
the,
be?
uh,
I think I have
you know
a
what
pain
it
in my
is.
arm.
93 out of 100 from the actual reviewers, based on 85 critics. 2,500 reviews gave it an 8.0. So the users love that game.
Yeah.
And we're very clear about why they love the game.
I'm not saying to throw it out,
Right.
but I'm saying everything.
I take them into account.
Right, you take everything because again, a number is different than the experience.
Yes.
If I read something like Aftermath and I can sit here and say, I'm going back to books because that's what I know. I finished Aftermath and I said, am I going to say it's the greatest book ever? No. It's written well enough. I enjoyed the story. I liked a big part of it. I gave it like a 4. Sebastian could say the same exact thing, but in terms of his mind, that's a 2.
Right.
You know, it's if it's not amazing, he's going to knock points off. It's almost like you're grading on your personal bias curve. So we would have the same review. We may have gotten the same enjoyment out of the book, but in my eyes, that's a 4. In his eyes, it's a 2. Now your score is a 3, and it doesn't reflect what either of us are actually feeling. That's why those type of reviews, again, when you just look at those numbers, we're
Right.
real quick to just look at it and go,
Right.
well, all the users gave it a 5.0 out of 10. Everybody hates it. And you'll read it and go, I really enjoyed this game. I thought it was great. But I didn't like the fact that I couldn't load it on time. 5.
Right.
You know, and then it's like, that's not a true review. You literally love the game. You just didn't load
So
it
whose
fast
review
enough.
would you trust more? Would you trust the user's
My own.
review, or would you
Right.
trust
but
the
that's the thing. But that's
professional?
But that's the beauty of especially something like games or like Like with a game, like, okay, the user reviews on Fallout 4 were they were meh.
Yeah.
But none of the reviews have been like, this is, like...
Nobody said, I hate this game, it's the worst game I've ever
They've
played.
gone like, here's the issues with the game, and these are my story problems. And I go, okay, well, you know what? For glitches, I can wait for when it's going to be discounted in 6 months, and then pick it up on discount, and then have my fun then. And
In terms of what to trust, what I trust is my ability to go deeper into a review.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes,
There are
definitely.
certain movie reviews from Entertainment Weekly. There is one reviewer that I usually agree with because he seems to have the same taste I do. There's one reviewer I don't because we don't have the same taste. So if that person doesn't like a film, the second reviewer that I don't seem to have the same taste as them, I'm discounting their review from the start.
Right.
Mikey and I like a lot of the same films, but Mikey likes a lot more, not highbrow, but that's
Independent.
Yeah. So when Mikey says this is the greatest film I've ever seen, which he won't because he doesn't care about anything,
That's true.
I'm looking at it with a skewed eye because I'm going kind of not the same. Eric and I have watched a lot of the same movies. We have a lot of the same opinions. Probably the only thing we ever really differed on was Pulp Fiction. If Eric says you need to see this, I'm going to go see it, and vice versa.
But filtering out those...
If you tell me to go see something, I'm like, I don't have time for Guardians.
Shut up. Filtering out those... filtering out those liked reviews or those reviewers that you feel that you can depend on takes a while. See, to me, when you look at a video game user review, to me, that's a lot more of an intimate review than, say, somebody who's going to a movie theater and watching a movie with a packed house. Because watching a movie with a packed house is going to change the way you see that movie.
The experiences will change your review. Yes. And that's why I've seen critics that have said, I went to a packed house, I couldn't hear half the dialogue. I can't really tell you. I think the movie sucks.
Right.
I couldn't
Right.
tell you if it really does because I heard everybody talking about it. The user review to me, I just don't trust users because I just don't think people have this sensibility now of being able to like anything.
But
It's
if you
just
can
the only time that I'm willing to open my mouth is when I hate something because I'm afraid to say that I like anything because everybody gets mocked if they like something.
Well, that's 90% of the internet.
That's
now.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's why I don't trust
It's a
anything on the
hater
internet.
world.
But finding that one reviewer that
for me, this is comics, movies, mobile games, whatever. I've found at this point I have a pretty good idea going into something whether I'm going to enjoy it or not. In terms of comics, in terms of what I'm selecting as what I'm buying and what I'm not buying. And in my position, I'm able to figure out if I'm right or wrong because I'll look at something and go, I wouldn't have bought that. And I'll read it and go, yeah, I wouldn't have bought this.
Right.
It's very few times now where I'll buy something and go, I was really waiting for this. I wanted it in my collection. I bought it. This sucks. This is terrible. So going into this, go back to New 52 with DC. I only got like 20 titles to start with. There were 32 titles I didn't give up.
Right.
There wasn't a single book. I read 49 of the 52 issues. Out of those 29 issues that I didn't buy, there wasn't a single one of them. I read all of them. There wasn't a single one of those 29 issues that I read that I stopped and went, oh crap, I should have bought that.
Right.
Not a single one. So going
And how
in-
many of the original ones the 20-some that you bought, did you drop immediately?
The only one I dropped, I didn't drop anything immediately. I dropped 2 titles within 3 months, and they were both Legions. And I dropped Batgirl, not because it wasn't good, but because I didn't enjoy the change in her character.
Because we know you loved Hawk and Dove. I mean, that was your
No, I didn't buy Hawk and Dove.
that was your favorite.
But yeah, I feel that's the same sort of thing. I'll see a preview for a movie and I'll go, I'm pretty sure I'm going to enjoy that. I've been wrong, but more often than not, I know going in, I don't care what, reviews for Spectre. It's boring. It's dumb. It's slow. I went and saw it. I loved it because I'm not that reviewer. I have a different experience going into it. I'm looking at it going, I know I'm going to enjoy this.
I've gotten to the point now where I don't give a shit what people's reviews are. If I have an interest in that movie, that game, that book, that whatever, I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to give it a try. It could be getting stupidest reviews. Jonah Hex. I know it was going to be a bad movie when I went into it, but I went, you know what? I want to see it. Fantastic Four. You know what? I want to see it. Fantastic Four could have been a great movie if they took the Fantastic Four out of it. They took the whole comic book aspect out of it. It could have been a really interesting movie. I will find parts in it. Guardians of the Galaxy, I loved. I can accept the dancing. I don't mind that.
You're wrong.
But so Battlefront, I'll pick up. Yes, it may not have the single player that I want. It may not have the space battles that I want, but I will be able to find stuff. Also, because it's Star Wars, and I will love to play. Heir to the Jedi. I said halfway through that book, I don't like it. I don't think it has a point.
Right.
You're the one who said finish it before you make that judgment. I got to the end of that, and I went, it makes sense. Now I understand.
Let me ask you a question, because this is the thing in terms of bias. It's Star Wars, and you've already paid for it. Are you subconsciously? Would you be going into playing Battlefront going, I need to like this. I can't accept not liking this.
Well, see, I've only paid $5. I can get my $5 back.
No,
I
I'm just
just
saying-
pre-ordered it.
Yeah, but you have to pay for the rest of it. When
I'm
you
going
get
to buy it.
Okay,
yes.
so you've paid your $60, you pay your extra $50, you have $110. You're 4 maps in, and you realize I hate this game. Are you really, again, just playing devil's advocate? Are you really going to accept I don't like this? And I'll tell you why. I did this with Star Trek Generations, and I did this with. There was one Star Wars book early, because I went through Generations and I got to the end of it and I'm like, I like that movie. I really like that movie. And then I watched it again. I'm like, this is not a good movie.
Right.
But when I first saw it, because I loved Star Trek Next Gen, I wanted to love that film so bad that I just threw away everything that I didn't like of it until I saw it. Until I saw it the second or third time, when I realized this is not a movie I actually really enjoy. Star Wars book was the same thing. I think it was one of the Kevin J. Anderson books where I'm halfway through it and the back of my mind is going, it's terrible, put it down. Like, no, it can't be. It's Star Wars. I have to finish it. So I recognize that bias in myself. If you're paying for something where you put $110 in, I don't know if consciously you can admit a month into it, this sucks, and I wasted all of my money.
See, right now, I only plan on buying just the base game. There has to be something in that.
Oh, it will, because those guys are going to trash you online.
Yeah.
Wow, so my pistol, and they have a Gatling cannon. Oh, great. This is fantastic.
There has to.
that they paid $50.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be something in that EA.
I know
season
Rich's
pass.
sense of pride. He's like, no, I'm buying that Gatling gun.
That is true. If I'm getting my ass kicked, I probably will do it. Okay, so I mean, we've talked a good hour on this.
Further proving we can talk about anything for a
long time.
Right. But, I mean, this is something we don't talk about games a lot on this show. Unfortunately. I wish we did talk more about it.
Well, we do in Travis.
Don't look at me.
We do in Travis.
That's true. It's my
But
fault.
there are
If
some...
there's one thing on the internet that's missing, it's people talking about games.
Sure. But there is something really important to talk about this, because we get so involved in our own biases about games. We get so involved in what other people are saying is supposed to be the next game that we get, that we get in that trap of, I've got to have that game. I've got to have it when it comes out, because if I'm not playing that when everybody else is playing it,
I won't
then
be
they're
cool.
right.
And
There's
Well,
something
that's-
wrong
I
with
don't-
me.
That's the
feel that.
online thing. That to me is the ultimate evil of this massive multiplayer online, is that feeling. It's the industry has brought itself to a point. It used to be you wanted to buy the game on release day, because when you called your friend 2 days later, like, dude, I got the level such and such on Devil May Cry or something. That doesn't exist anymore. It's how are you not playing Battlefront?
Right.
Why aren't you playing Battlefront Online? Everybody's playing Battlefront Online. Why aren't you playing it? Why didn't you buy it? You have to buy it. Everybody's online playing it, and you're not playing it right now. What are you doing? What is wrong with you? That's the way the industry's gotten now, because they're basically telling you, if you wait and buy this game in 6 months,
No one's going
to be playing it,
Yeah.
because you're already flipping through. I mean, we talk about the games that have been huge for all this year. How many people are still playing games from 6 months ago?
Right.
Well, and therein lies the problem with the all online versus the single player game.
That's what I'm talking
With
about.
yeah, exactly. With Fallout 4,
You can buy Fallout.
You
You
can
can,
buy
buy
a-
any Fallout game anytime
Exactly.
and play.
and that,
it.
and
that's
that
what-
goes
yeah,
for
dude.
any single player game.
Right.
Assassin's Creed just came out.
Well,
with
just like what I
Syndicate.
talk about, Devil
You
May
can
Cry.
wait for years to play that game; it won't matter.
Right.
I bought Devil May Cry. No, I bought my PS2 way late. I waited a year and a half after the release. Mm-hmm. My friend Aaron bought his PS2 months after I did. We both bought Devil May Cry as a greatest game at the same time. No one was playing that game.
Right.
No one was playing that game.
But you
Except
didn't need to
two
have
of- yeah,
people.
the two of us were playing. And we would call each other like, dude, you should see what I just did to this dude. You should, we played Max Payne that way. We played Rocky that way. We played all the Lord of the Rings games. We were playing Return of the King a year after the movie came out because we bought it like for $10 and then we found out all the cheat codes too, and we finished the game together. It's like, I just doesn't feel like you can do that now. Like
Right.
I'm knowing Battlefront 6 months ago when everyone was going crazy for it. In my head, I'm like, I'd buy a system for that game. That game's going to be awesome. And as it got closer and closer, and they're like, well, there's no single player. All right, well, my PSP still works.
Yeah.
And my Battlefront game for that still works. So
Right.
I'm just going to go back and play that again. So it's the industry is so different, and now I'm the old fuddy-duddy. Like, I don't like all this online stuff.
I'm right there with you.
That's why something like Grand Theft Auto or even Halo, you guys talk about the Master Chief Edition, as long as I can play the original
Yeah, you
games again,
you
I have no
all-
problem with
Yeah,
it.
you have all 4 previous games, which was, for me, the saving grace for the month I couldn't play online, because I wanted to play classic Halo again.
Yeah, for someone like me that's
Yeah.
never owned an Xbox, I've played Halo at other people's houses. That was the one game, and I think we talked about it when it was first announced at E3 or whatever. And I said, that's one of the things that would make me go buy an Xbox One. Because I could sit and play those 4 versions of Halo for months, because I suck. It's going to take me forever to finish any of those games. But I'll enjoy them all because I don't want an online component. I don't care.
Well, when we first got it, we all sat here and played it.
Yeah.
One of us, I forget which one of us, put it up on Facebook this week of the picture of the guy sitting down in front of the big screen with the 4 multiplayer image
Doing like
up
a
there.
LAN game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, this is gone. This is extinct now.
That was
not
the
gone.
thing that
This-
happened with Halo 5, and everybody flipped the fuck out because there was no split screen gaming for fucking Halo.
Yeah, but they were also very clear. It was, you either get a game with decent graphics and 60 frames per second, or you get split screen multiplayer.
Give me my split screen.
It's basically, it was also asking gamers to choose between 2 children.
Yep.
Who are you gonna pick? You gonna pick, high frame rate, and they're Xbox and PlayStation. They don't play games in 1080p.
Yep.
Correct.
They just don't.
Yep.
Despite what the box says. I'm
But
sorry.
I want it to be 4K.
Right. Well, then go build yourself a $500 PC.
Exactly.
But no. The thing is, like, it's either like you want
I
your
think
game.
Sebastian's trying to sell us services. I'll build
He
you a
is.
$500 PC.
But it's like you either get a good looking game with high frame rates, or you get your split screen multiplayer, but the game doesn't run as fast or as smooth. And that's the like.
Yeah, but you know what?
Oh, God.
I love Mario Kart, and
Right.
that shit's only running.
Well,
at
that's the
480.
thing is when we talk about this with Nintendo still exists as a party game atmosphere.
Right.
The stuff that you
Yes.
want to play. The only other thing you're playing is the Xbox. What was the Xbox store or whatever we bought last Saturday.
yeah.
We bought the Jack Pack between the 5 of us, and we're playing. Basically, a version of Cards Against Humanity, which is better because you come up with your own answers.
Yes.
And they're all filthy. That art game that I totally destroyed everybody at, which I really want to play again, which no one will because I killed
No, we can play it.
And then
There was the bomb one.
there was
It
the
was
bomb.
like
One.
it was
God, the bomb one.
It was $25 for a 5-pack of party games that are it's just
For which,
Xbox One.
Okay.
And the great thing is, it was, you're getting it up on the screen of of the question, and you're using your iPad or your
iPad or your
phone,
smartphone, which is great because it doesn't matter how many controllers you have.
Right.
right? And everybody's playing. Everybody's putting their answers, and you're just it's one of those games where you
We
put
started-
a group of people.
We started playing like at 8:30, 9 o'clock.
yeah, and we
and
were
we
done
played
at
till 2:30 in the
2:30. Yeah,
morning.
Nice.
I mean, it was awesome. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Like this was when we were playing Seen It as a group. That was great too.
yeah.
That's that sort of thing. Those are the things that are left. But yeah, if you're playing one-on-one or whatever, it just doesn't exist anymore.
But even playing
But it's also the
playing
work.
Halo with 4 people sitting there was fun, and you don't have that anymore because now I've got to have the full screen.
Well, no, you don't have it anymore because
nobody gives it to you.
No, because console manufacturers cheap out on their hardware. That's the fact of it. Yes, they could give you a split screen Halo 5, but it wouldn't look good.
right.
And there would be people complaining that it doesn't look good.
But you don't
looks
even
like
have
shit,
system
yeah.
linking anymore.
No, because you have wireless.
Because you
internet.
have wireless connections.
I can bring my Xbox One here and we can play in the same room together if you want on 2 different TVs. We just have to use your wireless internet. It's possible. But that's the thing.
That's one of the things that I think is missing in terms of that online stuff. Can you play one-on-one online?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can't like if 2 people have Halo 5.
Yeah, you can play.
You can just-
you
You could
just-
set
I'm gonna-
up an arena
With-
just
with
to play
just
2
one
players.
on-
Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool.
You
I
can do
mean,
that.
that part would be cool.
Yeah, you can do it, but that's the issue. Is like it's not like they don't want to because they can, but the console manufacturers are giving you quite literally hardware that is 3 or 4 years old already
that can't run these games very
Yeah.
well. So the truth is, and this is not like like as much as I like like PC Master Race, but it's also the fact it's like well, you can't blame the game manufacturers when they have hardware that just can't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but that's also the big thing. That's why there's the divide has finally happened between PC and console players. And like the PC player, everyone's like, oh, the PC players are all arrogant because they can do everything and anything. But it's also like, yeah, but they kind of have they have your game up. They can play on keyboards and mice. You can't do that on the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4. And that's the best way to input any first-person shooter is with keyboard and mouse. It's just more accurate. And there's no contest. They tried putting them both together, and people on the PCs were smashing console players left and right with just the level of accuracy for their control inputs and their latency and speed. Because
they totally suck at playing on a keyboard.
And
it takes some finesse to get used to it.
Does it ever?
But that's the thing is like you can also game in 4K on a computer that you can build for the same price as a PlayStation or an Xbox One.
It's just like strategy games. I mean, you can do a strategy game on.
But the world of single player games is moving to PC because the marketplace is so much larger because PC games don't rely on physical stores anymore. One of my favorite games, I play Stranded Deep. It's a single-player game where you're literally stranded on an island, and you're basically like a Tom Hanks castaway, and you have to survive yourself. It's not online. It's by yourself. There's no multiplayer. But that game is not on console.
Do you get a volleyball?
Yes. You get his name.
Yeah, you get a Wilson. You do get a Wilson.
You can and what's great is that because the game generates islands for you, the more you explore, you can come across the volleyball. They call him Wooly, and he's got the straw head and the blood hand face.
Nice.
Oh, here's the best part. You could find multiple Woolies.
You can find multiple of them,
and you could bring them to your house and then have them.
You can build your own.
Wow.
You can have a Wilson party.
Yeah, you build your own hut.
So Ethan, you haven't said a word about this the whole night. What do you feel about the gaming industry anymore?
I've mentioned it 1,000 times before. It's like I don't like playing games online.
People suck.
I don't like the way that the gamer has turned into let me insult you backhandedly over and over again.
Well, I don't
while
think
we
there's a
play
backhand
game.
with it at all.
There's no backhandedness to it.
But still, I mean, it's like I don't feel the need to play online against people who are just like so butthurt if you beat them.
Yeah, that's why I mute everybody.
Yeah,
Unless
I do too.
unless
I
I'm
do
talking
too.
to friends.
It was ever since I think Halo 3. I haven't played a game online for that reason and that reason only.
I mean,
It's just-
you watched me play Stranded Deep at my house,
Yeah.
and we were just like, it got to one point where it's like I'm in the middle of the ocean going between islands, and the intense thing is like, the sharks are coming. I can see them in the water, and I have to paddle my tiny raft back to my tiny island, and it's just dumb fun because there is no story other than surviving. And I want to play The Forest, the game where you get you're in a plane and you crash land in a forest.
And
wilderness.
they're like mutants
Yeah,
and
they're-
shit.
So what you're saying is you love playing games where it's you isolated in some kind of arena where
not necessarily.
you have to
Sebastian hates
survive.
So basically,
Well,
how I
not
live my
necessarily-
life, like
but not necessarily. But I think it's because those experiences aren't available on consoles either. Because that's a complete single player experience.
I mean, because we could drop you in the middle of a forest somewhere
could.
and let you try to do it on your own.
Right,
We could kick you a soccer ball or a volleyball or something if you want.
But if you want to play those kinds of it's not just so much like that. But it's that kind of genre of game almost doesn't exist on consoles anymore.
No.
But you can go to PC for that, but that's the interesting thing is it's like no, that world exists, but it exists in a completely different marketplace of gaming, and that's the big divide. Is like consoles are I'm not gonna say expensive. They're decently priced, and you plug them into your TV. They work. They just work. It's it's the old Apple slogan. A console just works. Versus a PC, you got to put your love. The best way to get a PC is you got to build one yourself. Don't pay the overhead on buying a pre-made one from like Alienware or HP or whatever. But it can be done, and it's worth it. But it's also a different gamer. The fact that you can already buy Battlefront for $10 cheaper on PC and get the same gameplay experience is already very telling. In that you can't get away with full price anymore on PC. because somebody's going to undercut you somewhere for a game that's just as good, if
Sure.
not better.
But you
Yeah.
see, like me being someone who grew up on consoles, like I would love the games that like, he's talking about, like single player, just mindless games.
Five-
Sebastian will build you.
Five Nights at
Under 500,
The
no.
biggest game on PC, the last Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
Thank God Arabella's not here.
But I mean, that's the thing. It's like
Five
that game
Nights at
is
Freddy's, what?
it's the simplest.
her out.
It's the simplest
Oh, yeah.
game on the planet. You sit in a room and you basically have to check the hallways and check your cameras and not get the jump scare.
Yeah.
But a guy who went from a literal nobody making like Christian religious independent games.
It's usually how it goes.
But I mean, he put out this game. He's like, okay, well, these games aren't working for me. And the irony is like a lot of reviewers like, oh, these characters look really creepy. And he sort of turned his. He's like, okay, let me try something completely different. And he's got more money than God, but he also, for the pun intended, but just like
Completely intended.
But that game is a smash hit,
And now he's got
it's
a
not
movie
multiplayer,
deal,
He's
and-
got a movie deal, but it's a great game, and people, despite the multiple sequels having come out for it, that's neither here nor there, but that's a game experience that's only on PC.
Right.
It's not on console because you can be an indie developer, make your simple PC game, and have it become a smash hit because of just good reviews. I mean, that game became big the moment people were posting YouTube videos of just how freaked out they get playing the game, and everyone's like, "I gotta try this."
Yeah, that's I think what scared my daughter.
I think the
Aw,
lack
poor
of
kid.
attention.
I gotta bring over my
Totally
my
freaked
Five
out.
Nights at Freddy's plushes.
No,
they
no,
made
no.
replicas from the ones in the game. There's a lot.
Last year we had to go to her teacher last year because the girls were printing out screenshots and bringing it to school and terrifying her with it. So I mean, she's like completely freaked out.
In honor of Fallout 4, and kids, if you ever do get Fallout 4, set your endurance to 8. That lets you become a cannibal and not get sick from eating human irradiated bodies.
Seriously?
Yeah,
Yes, that's
I
true.
do that now in normal life.
yeah, no,
That
I
explains
don't
so
so
much.
think you should be
stuff.
doing that,
because
Ethan.
If you cannibalize people in the game without like a high endurance level, you get
Yep.
sick.
Yep.
But if you put your endurance to near max, that allows you to eat bodies and not have to worry about finding food in the warrior wasteland. You can just kill somebody and eat them, and that's amazing.
Well, then you don't have to worry about
that.
replenishing your food and everything.
Right, you just go bonk somebody on the head, drag him back to your house, and then have him for dinner.
Yeah, this is old, real world, like, life hacks there.
Yes,
I do this all
exactly.
the time.
Old, real world life
So,
hacks.
You go into your iPhone, there's
Literally
a setting,
hacks, just hack
you
people.
up
Yeah.
your endurance to 8 in your iPhone, and then it allows you to become a cannibal.
There you go.
Okay, so
I mean, honestly, who doesn't want to be a cannibal?
so before we take off, I do
The
want
person
to
that's being eaten.
Hey, we have one.
add one thing.
I'm trying to quit, by the way.
The Supergirl episode that was scheduled for tomorrow night, which was entitled "How Does She Do It," has been pulled by CBS executives because of its content.
Just
Yes.
like Laverne and Shirley.
The episode had Kara protecting National
What?
City from. I don't know.
This is from South Park. If you put an offensive episode out, one person complains, and they pull the episode, it's the downward spiral to the show getting canceled.
Oh,
Yep.
Just
What
like
does that have to do with
Laverne.
Laverne and Shirley?
It's the joke that Cartman makes
Oh, I don't
in
remember
the
that
show.
one.
For this,
well, I think this one they did actually.
they did it
with-
on their own volition. I mean.
This one has a lot of merit behind it, pulling
Yeah,
it. The episode
it
was
about a terrorist attack in the city. or
yeah.
something.
Kara was protecting National City from a series of bombings while babysitting Kat's son, while James is visiting Lucy Lane. So I mean, there's a lot of shit going on, but because there were bombs all over the city, they decided to pull it because
They
of
felt it would be insensitive.
to the
Because
people of
France
Paris and at Beirut and everywhere else that's been
Baghdad, all
attacked. Yes, but CBS is also pulling an episode of NCIS Los Angeles, which was focusing on a girl joining ISIS, which is now
Right.
the group that's come out and responsible for the Paris
Yeah,
attacks.
especially because one of the Parisians was joined ISIS. Yeah, he's the son of Algerian immigrants, and
Yes.
he joined ISIS.
So, with that being said, we do want to give our prayers and our love out to the people of Paris, as well as everywhere else that seems to have had a Friday the 13th. I was going to say a bad day, but that doesn't even begin to cover it. I mean, there was Mexico had an earthquake. Japan had
an
earthquake and a
Mexico,
tsunami.
Tsunami.
Beirut was hit with a
Beirut
terrorist
and
attack.
I think
Baghdad both
Kenya
had
happened
bombings.
Kenya
like a week
had
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kenyon had what was it, a school shooting?
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
That
So
was
schooling
within
as
the
a
last
shooting at
couple
a
days.
university there.
That's what
I
it
thought that was
university.
in May, though. Wasn't that in May?
No,
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 it
it
was-
was
it was-
recent.
It was there was
Very
one, but
recent.
yeah.
It's very
So
recent.
I just wanted to send our love and our thoughts and our prayers out to everybody around the world that's been affected by these tragic events.
Yeah, after we talked about video games.
After we talk about video games for an hour. So for everybody that's left here, Travis, Chris, Ethan, Sebastian,
Mikey
and
left. It's not
Shauna,
really- it's not like
Mikey
it's-
has left.
Not like it was a mass exodus.
I'm saying check us out at facebook.com/nerdables, and we're on Twitter at Nerdables Show. What's wrong, Chris?
And finally, people can check us out at nerdibles.com.
And nerdables.com has been updated with new content and will continue to be updated.
It only took us a year, but we got it done.
It did say it still said Nerdables copyright 2014. we had Guardians of the Galaxy stuff up there.
Well, of course we had.
Guardians of the Galaxy
Yeah,
stuff
of
up
course
there.
we had Guardians
That's
of
going
the
to be
Galaxy.
updated
yeah.
tomorrow with more Guardians
So
of
I
the
watched
Galaxy
Guardians of the
stuff.
Galaxy for the 3,000th time, and oh my goodness, this is such
One
a
of the
good-
homepage stories was Falcon Cap. So that was still up there.
Falcon
We're good at
Punch.
stuff.
All right, guys. So we'll see you on episode 112.